Please note that this podcast contains information regarding sensitive events, including domestic violence, assault, and abuse, as well as other triggering events, such as murder. This podcast is intended for mature audiences. When Alice jumped down the rabbit hole, she immediately regretted her decision. A rabbit hole is a metaphor for something that transports someone into a troubling, surreal state or situation. Welcome to Afterglow, Unveiling the Idaho Cult. This is Season 2, Episode 17, Christina and Nicole. This podcast will take you down the deepest of rabbit holes as it unfolds. The story is so compelling, so bizarre, and so heinous, it's impossible to look the other way. Chad DayBell and Vallow were dedicated in the most horrible way to an ideology that should only be fiction. Instead, their ideology put them behind bars. Join us as we explore the lives, lies, and diabolical crimes of Vallow and Chad DayBell. I'm your host, Kathy Brooks. Please follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Afterglow. This is Season 2, Episode 17. We're going to dive into some more of what was going on behind the scenes that later unfolded, but keeping this in chronological order, how it was happening in real life. The detectives in Arizona decided to make a visit on April 15th, 2020, to two of Lori's friends, Christina and Nicole. So today's episode, I have the body cam audio of that. And it's pretty interesting. Remember, these ladies were part of the circle with Melanie Gibbs, Lemma, Melanie P., Lori, and these ladies. Okay, they were part of that circle, involved in this casting out, completely aware that Lori was labeling people, including her husband Charles at the time when he was alive, when they were doing this, as a zombie. Before we get started listening to Christina and Nicole, this was posted around the same time, approximately April 2020, when people were looking for the kids, and Lori and Chad were like, what? We're not talking to anybody. Emma DayBell was in a conversation via text or instant messenger or something with someone, and it was posted online. Emma says to this person, the kid's situation is complicated, so I'm not supposed to say too much about it, but it really boils down to a super nasty custody dispute. Lori's protecting the kids from people that are actually monsters. Luckily, now that it is in court, we can address the lies head on. Anything we say or do outside of court gets twisted horribly, which is why we just stay quiet for now, but our side will be heard. She goes on to say, so it is complicated, and I hate how twisted things have become and how nasty people are, but eventually things should work out. Sorry about how long that was. Thanks for letting me vent a little, haha. So the other person replies, oh my gosh, this puts it in a whole other perspective. So the kids are alive despite all the rumors? I've been super involved in this case because you guys are basically my family, and I've been doing my best to defend you guys. I'm just concerned about the recent deaths, the change to your mom's life insurance policy so soon before her death, and so much more. I've seen and heard so much, and I have so many questions. I also don't understand why she doesn't just say the kids are safe and present them to the police, then move them somewhere else. Emma replies, yeah, I'm not sure why they don't either. They've had 5 different attorneys all advise them not to, so I trust there's a reason. The kids are alive and safe. I really can't say more than that right now. It will come out in the courtroom. Just know the rumors are blown out of proportion. There are some horrible coincidences, such as my mom's life insurance and Lori's brother dying of an asthma attack during all of this. They really are just that, horrible coincidences. Charles Vallow was killed because he was attacking them, and Lori's brother shot in self-defense. Since we really haven't said anything to the media, it makes sense people jump to the worst conclusions, perpetuated by the other side. But we will share our side in more detail when the time is right. Interesting, right? So Emma was being told that Alex died of an asthma attack and that the kids are alive. And these are just coincidences that her mother's life insurance was raised and Alex died of an asthma attack right around the same time. And 5 attorneys have told them, we are advising you to be quiet. It's all just lies. I don't understand why she would be so gullible, but, well, she is. Okay, let's move on. Here is the interview when the police show up, knocking on Christina's door, asking questions.
Hello. How's it going?
Good.
Is Christina around?
Well, sure. What's up?
This is I'm Detective Bob with Channel PD. I'm just doing a follow-up on a case. And
Is it Wayne Dory? Wherever it is.
It is.
It is. Come on in, sir.
We're just, come on in.
Okay.
Christina.
My office is a mess, and we're just kind of getting some cooking and stuff. But please come and sit down. I'll just snap at you.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Let's turn in house.
Come on, Doc. You go outside. Out.
This is to keep our dogs off her
Come on.
No problem.
Out.
So, how do you know Lori?
Church.
Church? Okay.
Got married at church.
How long have you known her?
It's been, how many
Can I get you a
years?
drink, guys?
I'm okay, thank you.
Christina.
My jug is over there somewhere.
So we probably know Lori for,
How many years has it been since?
well, it's only been
Probably
since
7
we've been down
years.
here.
7 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know Chad?
Not at all.
Okay.
I met him one time at my sister's work. He goes to church with my sister in Idaho. And I met him just casually. That's the only time.
Okay. So you have a sister that lives in Rexburg or that area?
In Salem.
Salem?
Well, and New Dale, too.
Yeah, I've got sisters around, but
I was just, yeah.
yeah.
So you actually met him up in Idaho?
Yeah.
Okay. When's obviously before all this stuff happened? When was the last time that you talked to Lori? June. What was that conversation like or about?
I had gone to visit her. I was kind of concerned about some of the stuff that she was talking about, saying, and so I just kind of had a visit there and said, I'm a little concerned about you.
Okay.
What's going on? And I reached out to her multiple times after that, and she really didn't respond to me much at all. So, like, I heard about her husband's death, and I left her a message and reached out to her multiple times, and then texted her a few times. She may have texted back once or twice, but if she did, it was very, very short.
Okay.
And so she really hasn't spoke to me since June.
Okay. When you said you were concerned about her behavior, was there, well, I guess what brought that on?
Well, actually, it wasn't. So I had never met her brother Alex until like a week, like a couple of days before that. And I'd gone home to visit. I'd been invited over to visit her and some ladies, and he was there. And just the way that they were talking, I just felt it was not appropriate.
Okay.
So,
She had gone over for a religious discussion,
and it just
and it had gotten into the realms of rude.
yeah,
And that's not equal. Rude and religious discussions, although maybe, they're not the same. So it left a bad.
Okay.
I know.
Gotcha. Did they ever get into any of the I guess, are you guys LDS?
You have.
Okay. Did she ever get into the kind of extraordinary outside of the LDS
That's
faith?
the pieces and parts that got weird, and that was the end of it.
Okay. Did you ever hear any discussion between her and Alex, or I guess who were the other ladies?
Because I've only ever met Alex the one time.
Okay.
So no.
So I guess in the conversation that got rude, was there?
It was just weird.
Okay. Do you remember any of the context or anything that made it weird for you?
Well, Lori felt like her husband wasn't her husband, like he wasn't, like he was possessed or something.
Okay.
Did she say something to that effect?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say no, don't.
Yeah, and so and her brother was just kind of aggressive about it, like what I took considerable stress out was the fact that he was casually like, well, he just needs to die kind of thing, and I'm like, totally not appropriate. So after that happened, I went back a day or two later.
Was this at their house that she rented it here, or where did you guys meet at?
It was at her friend Zulema's.
Okay.
And so I was really upset by it, so I just texted her and said, Lori, I need to visit with you because I think this is really inappropriate. And so I went and told her, and I said, you can't be casual, stuff like that. You can't, it's not okay to talk about that in that context. Like, I don't know your brother. She's like, oh, you just know me. I'm super dramatic, and so is he, and he didn't mean anything by it. And so I just said, well, like, if something were to happen to your husband, I'd want to go talk to the police. If this is like, you can't talk about that, and like, that's not okay.
Okay.
And so I was she said, no, not at all. We're just, being dramatic. And that was the end of it.
Okay. When you had that follow-up conversation with her, was that over the phone or was that in person?
At her home. No, it was at her brother's home in Queen Creek.
Okay.
Where she was staying at the time. So, like, and before that time, like, I had never been to her house that was, I'd been to the big house off of Higley.
Okay.
But I hadn't been to the in-between house because she was really sporadic in communication. And
Okay.
kind of all over the place.
How close were you guys prior to this?
Like, I didn't know her well at all before she moved to Hawaii. When we went to Hawaii
So I had known her. She was in the primary of our ward, and so was I.
Okay.
She was a music singer and stuff like that. And then she moved out to Hawaii.
And we had a really great visit in Hawaii. And
so we went to Hawaii for a vacation just of our own families. And while she was there, we went and left a surfboard that we had bought at Costco because it was cheaper than renting.
Okay.
We
gave it to them.
We just had a really nice
Had a
visit.
half-day visit, whatever it was. It was a few hours in the afternoon, and then we left, and that was that.
Was Charles there then?
No, he was
okay. He was traveling for work.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you could think of? I guess now hindsight being what it is, and all of these active investigations.
I didn't get a chance to visit Lori after her husband died.
Okay.
And then because my sister's in the ward with Chad DayBell, I'd been at Harvest and
over in Idaho.
I had no idea she moved to Idaho. No idea where she was.
Okay.
And had heard that Chad DayBell's wife had died. And so my sister called me and she's like, hey, Ruth, or Christina, my sister's name is Ruth. I just heard that Chad's wife died. You know, that guy introduced you to a church. I said, oh yeah, that's my friend Lori's friend. And so she told me about it. So I texted Lori and tried to call her. And I just said, I heard something. I want to visit with you. If you have a chance, call me. But she never responded.
Never responded.
So I had no idea she was even living there.
Okay.
Or that she had married him, or...
Did you know her and Chad were friends prior to, or I guess by the time you were introduced?
She knew him, yeah.
Okay. How did you know that? Through the...
Because, just in visiting with her, she'd given me a couple of his books.
Okay.
To read. And so, and then my sister had brought it up one time that there was this guy that wrote these books. I said, oh, my friend gave me his book. And so that's how I made that connection. So then when I met him in the summer, it was just like, my friend lent me your book, you know?
Gotcha.
And that was how.
But there wasn't a lot more conversation about Chad and Lori and their relationship prior to this or anything else like that? It was just a friend? Okay.
Yeah, just friends. There wasn't anything else that I knew.
Gotcha. Like I said, is there anything else, I guess, now looking back that you go, oh man, that's really strange, or...
I'm upset about all of it, and I have...
She's lost sleep at nights thinking you guys are going to come holler away. I said, Chris, when they come, just talk to them. Just it's easy.
No, but so Melanie Gibb is a friend of hers. she has reached out a couple times and wanted to visit, and I haven't even read the news articles. Like, it just kind of makes me sick, and I haven't even really wanted to. So when she asked if I wanted to get together and visit, I just said I really don't. Like, I don't want to talk about anything, but you haven't talked to the police. And she said, I've told the police every single thing I can think of.
Yeah, we've talked to her on several different occasions. So
I just said I don't really want to get into it.
There's not the niece or the.
No, that's
her friend.
Yeah. There's two Melanies.
So, really, none of those ladies that, like, we were getting together and just doing like scripture discussions and stuff, and we really haven't had anything to do.
Did you guys have any mutual friends besides? Know Zulema prior to this?
No, not at all.
Okay, so that was your first time basically going to Zulema. Is that?
No, I've gone one other time to Zulema's. I met her last March. Melanie, and then Melanie, her niece.
Okay.
And then my friend Nicole, who was also in the ward with me. So, like, we knew, the three of us knew from her from here. And the day that I was upset about the whole thing and just kind of was done with it was when I met her brother Alex. There was a neighbor or somebody that had been invited. Her name was Julia, I want to say.
Okay.
Or something. And so that's the only other. Oh, and Serena Sharp.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it.
So you know Serena and Nicole through church?
Yes. Well,
okay.
Serena was introduced to us by Lori.
Okay.
And Serena's still, like, I communicate with Serena, and Nicole's my best
friend. I mean, we're good
friends with the Sharps and with the Earls.
Okay.
And they haven't had any contact either.
They haven't? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm sure they'd welcome
so
or whatever.
You, Nicole, and Serena, and then Lori kind of were all, I guess, acquaintances, or you're friends with them, but Lori became friends through church, and that's kind of how. So that's part of the reason that I'm here, and I'm sure you might have, if you haven't seen the news article, and now it's I don't need to. I'll just hand this to you. This is that kind of their light and dark scale rating and everything else, and
light and dark scale.
Yeah, they have and like the past lives that everybody's lived, and the reason
this
that
is completely inconsistent with any of our church's beliefs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope you know that. I mean,
Yeah, well,
obviously,
I'm
anything doing is very inconsistent.
Yeah, very, very aware of it being on the outside, but your name. Serena's name and Nicole's name, those are the other two that are blocked off, are all there that became part of this thing that they kind of have floating around. And that's how it came to be that we wanted to come out and talk to you, is just to see, I guess,
I want to see what does it say about Christina. Which one are you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Lenaia's daughter. Oh, granddaughter. Wow. Awesome. It's nice to know you. I'd like to know other things about you. Daughter of Prophet Jacob. Well, I gotta be nicer to you.
So the only thing that I would add is that when Nicole talked to Lori after Madison died.
Okay.
And she told Lori told Nicole that there had been that the whole thing that went down with Charles was that Charles had he and several others were planning to kill her. And that the day that he died, he'd left his phone in their home, and on the phone was this plans to kill Lori. And so that it was, the fight broke out because Charles wanted his phone back, and she wanted to keep the phone that showed that he was trying to commit murder against her. And she told Nicole that Charles had cut her out of all the insurance and stuff. They were getting divorced, and that she wasn't getting any money, and she was left with all of the bills from his job, like their home business and everything. So she was in really, really bad shape financially, is what she was told.
Okay.
So what was interesting at Christmas time is my sister Ruth, because Chad's in her ward, her husband was in the bishopric, and he was like a clerk or something. And so in visiting with him, he had said, "Oh, my wife got a lot of money." from her husband's death, and we have a house in Hawaii now, which didn't make any sense with what I'd heard, which is that she was stuck with all this debt. And she never had a house in Hawaii. She was renting, so it wasn't even like she had a house then. So it wasn't making sense with what was said.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Lots of
So
lying, obviously.
tons, apparently.
A lot.
Yeah,
Absolutely a lot.
There has to be with all this crap.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of that would be important for me in these cases? And unfortunately, I'm out of business cards, but I'll give you my desk phone number, and because something might pop into your mind, a week from now or a month from now, you go, oh man, I should, tell Nathan this, and I'll give that to you just so you have my contact information.
I don't know how it could have, what transpired. Like, none of it makes sense to me. It just makes me sick.
Yeah.
It's all absolutely insane.
That's a good way to put it.
I would have to say so.
It's a very good way to put it.
Officer, do they know where the kids are?
No.
Okay.
No.
I have lost track of hearing about it on the news one way or the other. We knew Tylee and what was the other little
JJ.
JJ.
Yeah.
And they were such sweet kids, wonderful people. Anyway, I'm sure you've heard that before. I just haven't heard if they found them or not. So.
No, not yet. So
Obviously doesn't bode well.
No. All right, you guys. Well, I appreciate it. Okay.
A lot of little tidbits in there, for sure. Now, the next interview is with the friend Nicole. They show up here and ask her questions too. It's best if you listen to this with headphones on because the body cam footage is picking up the audio and they're not standing exactly close to each other. So you hear the detective much better than you hear the interviewee. But there's some interesting tidbits here that you'll hear. One of the things I found really interesting is when he's asking about Charles, Nicole says, and you'll hear it, that there was a time when Lori put some drugs in Charles's smoothie. All right, so here we go.
We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Grant Lockridge
and Jared Tafta
on the Across the Counter podcast, where we create space for real people to have honest conversations.
We live in a world full of people fighting to be heard. Instead of arguing, we are listening to understand.
Seeking to count others as better than ourselves. The whole purpose of the podcast is the person across the counter.
Today is Wednesday, April 15th at 2020 at 15:07 hours. Detective Moffat at going to be speaking with Nicole Earl in regards to case number 19-83477. Hi, is Nicole in? Yeah. Hi, Nicole. I'm Detective Moffat with Chandler PD. How are you?
I'm good.
Just wanted to touch base with you about Lori Vallow.
Okay.
Is it all right if I come in, or you want to talk out here, or whatever is more comfortable for you? All right. So how'd you know Lori? Okay. Switch notepads here. Pages. How'd you meet her?
I met her at church.
Church? How long have you known her?
My husband might be able to remember better. 2000. I want to say like 2008.
Okay.
Josh, do you remember how long we've known the Vallows? Is it 2008?
Not quite that old. Something like that. 2008 was the year we moved back.
Yeah.
So probably not that.
No, because we weren't here then.
Maybe like 10 years.
Okay.
Wait, 2011.
Are you going to keep playing?
Yeah, I'd say 10 years is fair.
Okay. How
I
often?
remember the exact
Yeah, that's fine.
year.
And you met through church.
Uh-huh.
Which ward?
It was, at the time, Lindsay First Ward, I want to say.
Okay. And then you guys just kept in touch?
Yeah.
How
She
often?
moved to Hawaii. Her family moved to Hawaii like about maybe a year or two after.
Okay.
I don't remember. I just know they were gone for about 3 years. And then Josh ran into her at another church and said, "Oh, they moved back."
Gotcha.
And because we were friends with them and their children, and
How often, I guess, prior to all the stuff that's happened, when was, what was that text?
just said, "I'm praying for your family."
You said that to her?
Yeah.
Okay. Did she respond at all?
Her sisters and her mom. And
Okay, so you knew her pretty well over the course of the
Yeah.
10 or 11 years. Did she respond to you at all?
I do not believe she responded to that.
When's the last time you saw her in person?
It was, I believe, very end of July or first part of August.
So after Charles had died?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw her a couple of times after Charles died. That was,
What did she have to say about that? And about Charles passing?
she told me everything she believed that happened.
What did she tell you happened?
She said that Charles came in from out of town. I believe she said he was staying maybe at a hotel or something.
Okay.
I was coming to pick up JJ
Okay.
to go to school. And I'm not very good at all the details, but she said that he came and there was confrontation, and that Tylee came in with I don't know if it was a softball bat or a baseball bat, but some sort of bat. And then she said that she had Tylee take JJ out to the car
Okay.
and buckle him into the seat. And then that's when Charles took the bat and tried to hit Alex.
Okay.
And then Alex fired in self-defense.
Did you know Alex?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was not well? How many times had you met him?
At a birthday, like JJ's birthday party, and that was the first time, and that would have been last summer. No, not last summer. The summer before. Yeah.
So summer of 18?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever his birthday was, it was a pool party, so that's why I'm thinking it was summer.
Okay.
But I don't remember exactly when his birthday was.
Besides that birthday party, like you said, you knew her sisters and her parents and stuff. Had you had many interactions with Alex?
Uh-huh.
Okay. When was the last time you saw Lori in person? I guess prior to Charles's death.
I believe it would have been possibly June. at the end of May. I know that she moved to Texas at some point in the springtime.
Okay.
Because they separated in January. And then he went to Texas. I believe it was Houston. And then she went there maybe
Okay.
there for a little while and then came back. But that we had JJ.
When she came back from Houston?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because I think I remember her saying, because he went to the special school
Lauren Institute, yeah.
And she was having him in the summer program there.
Okay.
That's what I remember. Because whatever the school was in Houston, it wasn't really the best fit. I remember her saying.
Gotcha.
And he really seemed to do well at the Lauren Institute, and like the staff and the teachers. And I remember there was some sort of purse altercation. And I think it might have been during that time.
Okay.
He had taken her purse or something. But I don't remember much of the details.
What the details were? Okay.
Yeah. But I do think that might have been in the springtime.
So, are you LDS? Obviously, you guys met through the church. Did you ever hear Lori, I guess, discuss things that were kind of like outside of the LDS faith and have conversations with her about that stuff?
Yeah, she did talk a little bit about those things.
And what do you know? I guess, what were the things that you heard? Or I guess knowing now kind of where all of these criminal cases have gone, is there anything that stands out to you now as something like, oh, that's, strange, or that conversation was weird, or anything else like that?
I don't know if I exactly know what you mean.
I guess, like, I just left Christina's house, and Christina had overheard conversations that she's like, that was just a really bizarre conversation that we had, and it made me feel uncomfortable, and it was kind of outside the norm of any normal conversation you'd kind of overhear. Yeah. Did you ever have those conversations with Lori?
Yeah, she talked about her husband being possessed.
Okay.
And Heidi as well. And one of the things that didn't really ring true to me was that you can easily give up on people. Whether they're doing the right thing or not in their life, that you can just kind of pick and choose, and it's like we're all just kind of in this life together. It's my thoughts. And
okay.
We just need to keep on doing the right thing. And so I didn't really like that. And as she started talking about those things, I just tried to distance myself more from those conversations.
I guess one of the reasons that you came to be, or I guess that we wanted to follow up and talk to you. I don't know if you've seen any of these emails and stuff, but this was kind of something that was found in an email between Chad and Lori, and it kind of goes through their previous lives and who everybody is, and obviously you were included on that. So it was just kind of you, Christina and Serena were all included on that. So we're kind of following up with all of you guys just to see where everybody fits into the puzzle. And
I recognize many of the names. I've not ever seen this document. I do know a lot of these people. I know Jason now. He was in that same ward, but I don't know if he was actually there when Lori. I don't believe he was there when she was in the ward, actually.
Had you ever met Chad DayBell? No, never met him. Had you ever heard or had any conversations with Lori about Chad?
She gave me his book series.
Okay.
I guess there was a Preparing a People conference here.
Okay.
In Mesa, maybe, or Gilbert. I'm not quite sure.
Did you ever go to any of those?
I didn't go to any of them, so I don't know exactly what they're about. But when she came back from that conference, then she gave me a set of the books.
Gotcha.
I'm not a fiction reader. I actually despise it.
Okay.
So I read a little bit of the first one, and I was like, yeah, that's not for me. So
gotcha.
Anyway, I haven't read any of them.
Okay.
I don't really know what they...
We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, it's Sean McClure, host of Non-Trivial, a podcast that helps you navigate our complex world. Get answers to questions like, why is the best preparation no preparation? Why do things only look crazy when you stand too close? Why don't the rich penny pinch? How does one actually construct an argument? What can complexity tell us about social mobility, gun laws, military advantage, free speech, and finding the right dosage to anything? Get better at understanding the core mechanisms that drive debate, innovation, scientific discovery, the economy, religion, and more. Come on over to Non-Trivial and build yourself a formidable toolbox to understand and navigate our world. Subscribe to Non-Trivial wherever you get your podcasts.
Talk about other than that very first book.
Besides her basically giving you the book and stuff, did she ever talk to you about how when they became friends or the relationship
She talked about, well, she met him at that Preparing People from what I understand.
Okay.
And I don't know if she was presenting at that or if she just went to it. I have no idea.
Okay.
Because I do know she went to another one in Idaho, maybe. And I think she did present there, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
And like I know Melanie Gibb does present to those because she wrote some sort of book or something, which I haven't read either.
Gotcha. Because you don't like the fiction stuff.
Not my kind of thing. So she met him, and then I didn't really hear her say anything about him until probably March or maybe April. And then she started to talk about him. But she didn't necessarily talk about him that they were having any sort of relationship.
Okay.
And then I think they were in communication with one another. He lives in Idaho and she lived here and she was in Texas at that time too. So that's all I know. She didn't ever go into any detail about, because now, like, obviously there's a lot in the media, but I was never given any information.
Gotcha. Okay.
About that there was anything romantic going on or anything of that nature. So I can't speak about that.
Gotcha. As far as, I guess, is there anything that with our investigations that you overheard that you think I should know, or like that we should discuss type thing? You know what I'm saying? I know. Well, let me ask you this: you are LDS. How often did you guys have conversations of her beliefs or the beliefs that she was kind of falling into that were far out over and above the LDS faith and the teachings in the LDS Church?
Good question. So, I don't know. Are you LDS?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Once she moved back from Hawaii, I ran into her. Josh had said she was here, but she wasn't living nearby.
Gotcha. And
then I ran into her at the temple, which is over
on Higley or Greenfield. Yeah.
Greenfield and Pecos. And so we visited, and then periodically would go and do work at the temple.
Okay.
And that's what we were doing. So we were discussing religious things, but it wasn't necessarily far left things that we're hearing about. She did, however, asked me to come, and she visited in March, I want to say, and she did visit about some of those things, and it just was not something that rang true to me.
Okay.
And at that point, that's when I distanced myself, and it was easier because she was in Texas after that.
Gotcha.
So there'd be some texting back and forth, and then she moved back in June with JJ to go to school, and she wanted to get together. We got together, and once again, she discussed some of those things, and they just weren't ringing true with me. So at that point, I really just thought, I'm not interested in, I still like her as a person, but I'm not interested in getting involved in those kinds of things. And then in July, I was out of town, and Josh called me as I was driving home and said, I just heard through the grapevine that Charles died. He didn't have any information, so I didn't know what had happened. So I did reach out to her at that point and just sent her a message and said, I'm thinking about you. I hope everything is well. Hopefully you and the kids are okay. And then a couple of days later, she contacted me, and I could look back and tell you the exact dates on the text messages if you need them.
If you think there's anything in the context that I need to know or I should know as far as these investigations go.
Before that happened.
Okay.
And then she said that she wanted to get together and visit, and I was a little bit concerned about it because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't impeding any sort of police investigation or getting information that I shouldn't be privileged to hear or have. And so that was a couple of days after. And so we met, and I just let her talk the whole time. And I didn't really ask a lot of questions because I was just in shock, really. It just was so surprising that things could escalate to that degree. And so that made me sad because we've known Charles for 10 years. I know his sons. I know Tylee and JJ. And
knowing Charles as well as you did you ever see any side of Charles that would have been, the yelling and screaming and the allegations that she basically, or the behaviors that she says Charles, or how he acted at the time of the...
I didn't ever see any of that because most of the times I was seeing him, we were in social settings.
Okay.
We were at, a get together at their house or like at church. And so I didn't ever see anything of that. She shared things with me, but obviously those are her words. So I don't.
So previous to this, had she confided in you that Charles was, verbally abusive or physically abusive or anything like that in the past? She
didn't say anything about physically, but she mentioned he was a little hot-tempered at times.
Okay.
And he was an intense person. I think that's why he was such a good businessman, because he could just get in there and get things done and all. But yeah, I can't really speak to that because I never saw. Okay.
Did you ever hear her or Alex or anybody talk about like what they, if somebody were possessed, how they deal with the possession or anything like that back when this was going on? I know you might have seen a lot of media stuff since then, but at firsthand, did you ever hear her or Alex talk about, what to do when somebody is possessed?
Lori, I didn't ever hear Alex talk about anything like that. Like, I saw him social settings once again, like little family get-togethers.
Yeah.
And then 1-2 other times. One time was Serena, she had moved here from Connecticut in August-ish.
Okay.
End of July, 1st of August.
Of this past year, shortly after Charles died?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was moving to Queen Creek, and so Lori sent out a text and said, let's all get together at Costa Vida and have lunch. And when I arrived, Alex was there, which I thought was rather strange because it was just a bunch of ladies that were together for lunch. So he was there, but he didn't like really converse or talk much during the course of the lunch.
Okay.
And if he was talking, it was like, kind of groups of people chatting at the table. So
Gotcha.
I didn't really hear anything he was saying necessarily.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to ask you. Oh, what's a good phone number to get a hold of you?
That really is a number.
That's an easy number to remember.
It's the best number for like my little kindergartner and my kids.
Absolutely. Anything else that you could think of that's important, I guess, now knowing that we have all these criminal investigations going, that you overheard then, that, like I said, you might have written it off, but you go, oh man, now that all this is happening, that's weird or bizarre. Or...
In June, when we saw her after she'd been gone a couple of months, when I say we, Christina and I got together with her, she had said that, and Christina would be able to recall, I don't even take ibuprofen, so I have no understanding of medicine or anything of that nature.
Okay.
But there was some sort of, I think it was a medicine of some sort, and I don't know if it was something Charles took or if it's something that maybe was another medication that JJ took.
Okay.
I know JJ took quite a bit of medicine
for
his different issues, but she had said that she had been putting whatever this was into, I think, a smoothie or some sort of drink for Charles when she was in Texas.
Okay.
In his last months. But I don't recall any naming or anything because my brain doesn't really know any of that information. I'm just not a medicine person.
Anything else you could think of?
I've read stuff and it's just like all this is very, very surreal. Like to know somebody for a long time and then just to have everything in a matter of a few months turn upside down, and like to know the kids. And
had she ever, I guess in the text messages that you guys had, like after she moved, did you know she was moving to Idaho? Did she tell you that?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I guess it was in end of July or first part of August. I believe we were texting, and the people that they'd rented the house from where the incident had happened, I believe they were friends of Lori and Charles, and they were really unhappy with it, obviously. And I don't know if it leaves some sort of record on the house for like sales later on or something, but she said that they were wanting her to leave, and I said, well, just let us know, like I have teenage boys. I said, we can come and we can help you pack up your things and get you settled someplace else if you need that kind of help. And she's like, okay, I'll let you know. And she didn't ever say anything, so I was really surprised when all of a sudden I saw the media in December and realized not long after all that she had left and had moved to Idaho, and I wasn't aware that she was in Idaho.
Gotcha. So any text conversations you had with her, if there were any around that time, she never said she was moving to Idaho or what she was doing.
No.
Okay.
No, the last I'd heard is she just said that the people that owned the home told her she would need to move out, and her niece Melanie, had possibly said she could live there for the time, like trying to figure out.
Gotcha.
Because I think from what she had said in July, after she was concerned about the money and like all the business debt and everything, that talked about all the car loans and just not knowing how all of this was going to work out. And
okay.
Because she had said that Charles had changed all the and his sister, I believe it would have been in March, changed all of the life insurance policies and all those things over to his sister at that point in time, which was understandable in my mind because he was pretty angry with Lori and her and whatever else.
Yeah.
And his sister had come and helped him move to Texas, so I knew that she was involved in trying to help Charles with JJ and getting things settled. And
Gotcha.
so that was something that she was saying, so I didn't know where she would end up.
Okay.
That's why we were willing to go and help her go with a moving truck or get into an apartment wherever she needed to land, knowing that I'm sure that house was not inexpensive to rent.
Yeah.
And
so obviously,
they'd always lived in pretty fancy, nice homes and areas in the past. So.
you don't have any idea where the kids are. They aren't with you or any one of their friends or mutual friends or okay. And she hasn't. There hasn't been any responses, I guess, since the media has gotten a hold of this that would shed any light on this case or these cases one way or another.
Like a text message.
Yeah, like text messages or anything.
I don't think I received anything from her. I could go get my phone and look, but I don't believe when I texted her in December when I saw everything going on. I don't think she responded at that point.
Okay.
My mom was positive.
I ran out of business cards, but I'm gonna write my email address and my desk phone number down for you. If something comes up, if you happen to something comes to mind of I really should tell Nathan or Detective Moffat that, just give me a call or shoot me an email. They have us working from home 3 days a week, so this is my 1 day off office work until this quarantine is done. I'm guessing that will be done by it might go into mid-May. My wife's a ER trauma nurse, charge nurse, and they're seeing a decline, but they're still seeing steady cases. So I think it all depends on what the governor wants to do or decides to do.
It's steady cases. Are they really high-risk cases, or is it just people having symptoms and it's more like mild flu?
My personal opinion in talking to her and in the way it's working, the scary part is there are people mid-30s that have no medical condition, non-smokers, that are reacting bad to this and crashing. And it's not many, but it's those rare cases that you go, really, is anybody safe, depending on how personally your body's going to react to it. A lot of people are coming in and going, they have bronchitis-like symptoms and that kind of stuff, and they're COVID positive, and they're like, well, I just don't feel good. I'm not getting better. Well, go home and quit infecting people and just stay home for until you're better type thing. So it's really just kind of a bizarre mix of it's those one-offs, and you never know if there is something underlying. They could have had. I work in homicide. I've done death investigations where 22-year-old kids found at the park and just had an aortic dissection or something that was underlying medical conditions. So you don't know whether or not those people might have had an undiagnosed or untreated because they didn't see a physician. But it's those one-off cases that are kind of scary. Obviously at the at-risk groups and stuff like that, they're at risk. You're more susceptible to get something like that. So I get that. But they are going down. They have a tent set outside of CRH because that's where she works at. And for any COVID type complaints, if it's non-emergent and doesn't need to happen right away, then they're being treated out there. And if they don't need to be admitted, they just go home from there and quarantine. So I'm guessing, I think because of the bad economy and stuff like that, they might rush to open it back on May 1, as we were set to do, but hopefully the governor's paying attention, and if we need to stay closed, stay down for 2 more weeks, we do, just because I think it really is if you're sitting here or going to the grocery store and you wash your hands and don't touch your face while you're in there and use hand sanitizer, you're not likely to get it. So if we get on the downhill curve of this, hopefully it slows it and we get all done with this. So.
Here, like you're trying to wade through what the media is saying. Like I'm sister of Michigan, and it's a mess.
Yeah, Michigan's really bad.
Louisiana, and it's just like both of those are terrible states to be in right now.
Yeah, and New York obviously is really, really bad.
My sister that's in Louisiana just moved from Manhattan like a couple of years ago. I'm like, you would have been bad off no matter where you've been.
Right.
So, well, thanks to your wife and you for being on the front line.
Oh, thank you.
Hard stuff. Like, I can't even imagine homicide. That would be grateful for people that are willing to do that.
There's my email address. I need to take that back only because stuff's been getting to the media and it's just making matters worse for all of us. So, not that you would, but I just. Any questions for me?
Very careful sharing with anyone. Like if people knew that I was friends with her and they come to ask me, I just try not to share details because I don't want to create any extra sensationalism or.
Yeah. Any questions I can answer for you?
Questions. Probably most of them you can't talk about. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's just really. This is transpired, and I think the most it was shocking in July, but what transpired by Christmas time just totally. I didn't see it until Christmas Eve. Picture on the news. What's going on?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is.
I am afraid that they probably aren't alive, but you can always hope that they're being taken care of someplace. And I just hope for closure for her parents and her sisters, siblings, and JG's grandparents and family members.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for Charles' sons,
yeah, Zach and Cole.
They're kind of I think they're kind of the quiet victims of all of this, where it's just terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're directly affected by it, and Colby too. Just really hard to think about all the different people that have been affected by these choices. So I haven't checked for a few weeks. Has it gone to trial?
Her case for the child abandonment is pending preliminary hearing. So
everything's kind of shut down.
Yeah, I think they're aiming for a preliminary hearing on first week of May. So the only good news about the whole COVID thing is it's kind of quieted the media sensation around this.
I was really
so
grateful for that. I was thinking about that the other day. I thought, so happy not to have that be on the front page every single time you open up your news.
Yeah, it really, all of this and the way it's transpired is essentially a made-for-TV movie, and it's kind of beyond.
It's beyond comprehension.
It is.
I've known her for so long, and that's why I just say, even me, my whole head just spins with all of it. I just can't really believe that any of this has happened, actually. I don't know. I do know she had told me that she had gone after the first incident, that they had her go to some place and do some sort of psychological evaluation.
Yeah.
And she told me, I passed, everything's good. So I reflect on that often, trying to understand how this could transpire in the way it did, and not have some sort of underlying mental illness or something happening, something that's been lingering in my head over the last little while.
To intervene, I don't know exactly. I know that she did do that back in whenever it was. I don't remember. I think it was February or so. But just so you understand how it works, is their job in a situation like that is to make sure that you're not an immediate danger to yourself or to somebody else. It's not necessarily a psych eval of your sound mind. It's a psych eval to make sure that you are not a danger to society right now. So it's almost an emergency room for psychiatric help. It's not a, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Let's explore these views. And there's only from dealing with this in police work, not this case. There are two types. You have the danger to self or others, and then you have people that are persistently and acutely disabled, which they could be and I'm not saying Lori is, I'm just saying, for example, the bipolar person that is off their medication, but they haven't hurt anybody. They're not currently suicidal or something like that. But that's a much different process than, are you going to hurt yourself or somebody, this week? So it wasn't that there was and I don't know whether there is or not. I'm not weighing in on that, but it's just so you understand the difference of the two. There's two very separate roads that they go down for those type of things.
That was very helpful because I just kept thinking that was all within the same year. I just kept believing shift and change, but I just kept thinking there has to be something mentally happening that shifts in someone's mind to be able to orchestrate all sorts of.
Well, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, okay?
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. There is also an opportunity now to join and just subscribe to the show. You can pay a monthly fee. The link is in the show notes below, and you can help support my show. I really appreciate it. Again, one-woman show, and I am doing it all, and I really could use the support to keep the show going. Another way, if you cannot donate to the show, leave a review. Leave me a 5-star review. Share this podcast. Give it a good review. And that is as helpful as anything so it can get out there. I appreciate you all. Stay safe. Stay well. And I'll be back soon.